Welcome, everyone, to SSN On Base Special Edition Softball today. I am thrilled to talk a little MSU softball with two experts that have joined me today. You've heard them on SSN 24/7. Play-by-play announcer Matt Tjapkes and analyst extraordinaire Allie Grant. Guys, thanks for joining me today. I know it was a late night, early morning for you guys. We'll get into the Michigan game in a little bit, but I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, I want to start off this podcast getting to know you guys a little bit. Matt, this is your first year doing softball, right?
It is. That's correct.
Yeah, but you've been under the TBC umbrella for quite a while, so why don't you give us a quick thumbnail of what you've done for TBC and entering your first year at softball play-by-play? How's it been?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. I've been working with the family for about 4 years now. Some people might not know, but Will Tiemann and Wendy Hart, the owners of TBC Sports, also own a radio station in Grand Haven called WGHN, and they actually started another radio station called WMPA Country 93.1. And one of the things that I do over there, I started off, had to prove myself a little bit, so they stuck me on the AM station first, doing a little high school hockey for Grand Haven High School. Once we realized we could do a little bit more when we started WMPA, we had to find a school to follow. And we decided to do some football and some basketball. And we picked Muskegon Catholic Central, which has got a very rich football history out on the lakeshore. And I have been doing Muskegon Catholic football for the last 4 seasons, including the last 2 state champions in Division 8. Right. They have a 26-game winning streak right now. Just a little plug for them.
A little plug.
And
right. We love that.
Then we moved on to basketball. Basketball, for a couple years, we split between Muskegon Catholic and Western Michigan Christian, which is my alma mater. Last year, we decided to go exclusively to Muskegon Catholic. And it was an incredible move because the Crusaders, for the first time in their 61 years, won a conference title in boys basketball. So it was a lot of fun. It came down to a buzzer beater last game of the season for them to win it, so it was a lot of fun for me personally.
It's like a movie script. You can't write those things.
No, that was just it. So that's been an incredible experience, and apparently Will and Wendy liked me enough that they decided to give me a call this spring and said, hey, how do you feel about softball? And I said, well, I don't know a ton about it. I've played in my little rec leagues back in Grand Haven, but I don't know a ton about the college game. But fortunately, they gave me an all-star analyst to work with, and I was off and running. And we have, unfortunately, not had a stellar record since I came in. Yeah. But last night was one of our best games of the season, and we're hoping to build on that starting today.
And you mentioned the all-star analyst that you have, the grizzled veteran, and I don't think I will ever say grizzled when I introduce Allie Grant ever again, so I apologize for that. But this is your second year, right?
It is.
In the radio world, covering Michigan State softball. What have you learned? What have you taken from last year into this year, and just how fun is it for you? Because that's what it's all about, guys. I mean, you got to have fun in what you're doing.
I've actually learned that I know a lot more about Coach Jay than I thought. And it's really fun to be able to talk about Coach Jay and kind of her mindset and her love for the game and how she likes to teach it to her players. And it's been a lot of fun working with Matt. I feel like we've meshed pretty well with how we kind of like complement each other on everything that we do. But it's a total blast. I mean, I've played softball since I was 8, so this is still keeping me in the game, even though I'm retired. So it's a lot of fun.
What makes a good? I'm going to ask you guys because, like you said, you're still trying to get used to each other. You're working well together. But in both of you guys' opinion, what makes a good broadcast team? You've been in it for a little while, doing, like you mentioned, a bunch of different things, and you kind of new into it. So I want to get you guys' opinion on what makes a good broadcast team work.
Well, I think the first thing is you have to have a color commentator that knows what she's talking about.
You do have that.
He or she, depending on what the sport is and what we're talking about. But yeah, I mean that having someone like Allie along with me while I'm still learning about the team, I might, watching the game, telling people what happens. That's the easy part for me. But having someone who can understand why that happened, understand what Coach Jacquie Joseph is thinking, and
which can be a lot at times.
Yes,
I've heard,
and giving us a filtered response of what Coach Jacquie Joseph is saying to some of the players. That makes for an incredible asset for me, and it really makes for a good listening experience.
What about you, Allie?
I mean, just building off that, obviously you have to have a good play-by-play announcer, but then at the same time, like, he gives me time to talk, and he asks me questions and helps us present a picture to the audience. Another thing is when the team is actually doing well, it's fun to get excited with Matt. You hear that, like, fun in his voice, and then I just build off that because obviously these girls are like a lot of my friends, and I feel for them when they do well. So
you're invested in it.
Exactly.
More invested, maybe more so than others would be.
Exactly.
I've never had a color commentator jump out of her seat more than Allie Grant.
Did that happen last night?
It happened a couple times.
No, I had to stay.
She was trying to be polite because we were in unfriendly territory.
Right.
But if we're at home in East Lansing, man, that girl will jump out of her chair at the drop of a hat. It's unbelievable.
Awesome. But you like to see it because that's a natural response, right?
It is.
And that's what you want to hear in radio.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. If you love who you're covering, it comes through to everybody that's listening.
All right, guys, let's take a look at this team right now as we stand. We'll obviously get into the Michigan game last night. Some high points, some low points. This entire season, 16-30 overall, 1-16 in the Big Ten. But let's take a look at some of the positives. I mean, they've had some injuries. Kajawa played well last night. It seems like she plays very well in Ann Arbor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Allie, but last year in Ann Arbor she had a very good game as well. You got Sarah Gutnick back, who's been injured. It's good to have her back in the lineup. She's been injured since the Ohio State game. Correct me if I'm wrong again. And then there's been a couple other key injuries to a couple upperclassmen, but these freshmen have really stepped up their game. Would you agree? It
is. It's, the freshmen are following the seniors' lead in this team. But you talk about Leah Forrester and Mackenzie Long, as everybody calls her Puppy. Those are two freshmen that are just putting up phenomenal stats right now and doing it against some of the toughest competition that the Big Ten has to offer. I mean, our last 5 games were against the number 4 team in the country and the number 13 team in the country in Michigan and Minnesota, the 2 top teams in the conference. And really, in 3 of those 5 games, there were opportunities for us to win those games. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're taking moral victories right now where we need to be getting victories in that victory column. But the freshman class is built a foundation that Coach Jacquie Joseph, she's got 4 more recruits coming in next year and a couple walk-ons as well. That's going to give this team a great start toward moving back in the direction that this squad needs to be.
And Allie, as Matt kind of just touched upon, during this losing streak, most of these games have been, most all except for maybe a couple, have been very competitive. A play here, a pitch there. And again, we're dealing with younger players stepping up and really showing what the future holds for this team.
Like Coach Jay says, like, this game is just a matter of inches. It's one play. It's one pitch that could go wrong. And when you're playing teams like Michigan and Minnesota's caliber, they're going to strike first. And once you present them with an opportunity to take advantage of you, they will. And Bridget Rainey has been amazing on the mound. As soon as she comes out, and walks are kind of her negative part of her pitching. And then every single game she just keeps getting better and better. Less walks, less hit batters, and you can't ask for more coming from a freshman.
And when you look at it too, I mean, offensively, these players can hit the ball. Maybe I would say they have jumped up offensive stats, home runs, average, RBIs, whatever you want to throw out there. They are much better being able to put runs on the board than maybe they were last year or maybe within the last couple of seasons. Would you guys agree with that?
No, that's completely right. I was looking at some of the stats last night, and most of the major offensive categories have their highest totals since Allie was playing in 2011.
Yeah.
And the win totals actually already improved from last year as well. So, I mean, you look at everything. You look at the picture as a whole. Sometimes you sit back and you look, and right now I think it's 13-game losing streak that we're on right now. And some look at that as the glass half empty.
Right.
But if you look at everything that's going on surrounding this program, everything that they had to endure the last couple of weeks with injuries. Yeah. I mean, Lindsey Besson still isn't playing. Their pitching staff has gone in and out. At one point, it was down to just 2 pitchers. Now they're all 4 are healthy, and that's been a big help for them. It's been a roller coaster ride for this team, and we're hoping that things are going back up here for the last 2 weeks of the season.
And, Allie, I want to talk about senior leadership, which is huge in every sport. You need to have that. And people talk about that all the time when the team is winning or makes a great run, that the senior leadership is, leading the way. But that's just as important, maybe even more so when things aren't going so well. And I want to pinpoint Stephanie Sanders, who has been another one who has been on an absolute tear and has led this team and has not given up on this team and has really just put her play into another atmosphere right now.
She absolutely has. I would totally agree with you. And I was lucky enough to actually play 2 years with Stephanie since she is a fifth-year senior. And I just cannot be more happy for her. I know she's one of the hardest workers on the team. She has a great head on her shoulders. She is the one that's never say die. She's going to be that team player that you need, especially coming from a team with a record like we have. And she's going to be great for the freshmen to look up to. And even the sophomores and juniors can learn something from her. And you see her playing first base now. I
was going to mention that. I mean, when do you see that? I mean, obviously because out of necessity and some issues that happened, but to have her come in, and I don't know, maybe, do you guys know if she's ever played first base before in any level of softball that she's played?
I don't know that first base is her primary position ever. I do know that she has played the infield before.
Okay.
She is a versatile player. And, first base, it's not that easy when you're playing fast pitch softball because you're having to defend, like, the slappers and the bunts and things that, baseball doesn't see a lot. So it's a learning process for her, which it's very important because it's going to teach Kenzie Long at second base to really communicate every single play and every single pitch with her first baseman.
And you guys mentioned it, too, the pitching staff with the young arms they have. They're coming back. We've had basically a full staff now after injury, and that's, again, they have really come around here during the Minnesota game and Michigan last night especially. I mean, they have shown what type of pitchers they can be. It's just, I agree, let me know what you guys think about this. It's about the consistency and learning how to win in key situations. Is that the next step maybe for the evolution of this team?
Well, it completely is. I mean, you look at Bridget Rainey, and Allie and I have talked about it almost every broadcast, that every time she steps out there, she does something just a little bit better. And she's learning. Walks are her Achilles heel right now, and but she has the mental fortitude where, I mean, she gave up 2 monster home runs last night against Michigan, and she went right back out and got a couple more outs and forgot about it. Coach Jacquie Joseph had to go out and give her a little word of encouragement.
Pep talk.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. But, that is something that's why Coach Jacquie Joseph keeps going back to her, because she wants the ball. She wants to go out there. She wants to learn. She wants to win. Now, some of the other girls, Christina Zalewski has probably the best set of tools on that team. I mean, she's 6'2". She's an imposing presence out there. She throws harder than anyone on the team. And last night, she came in a bases-loaded situation against the University of Michigan with nobody out and got 3 straight outs. It was the best appearance we've seen from her in weeks. She was out there. Sometimes when she's been starting, she starts a little slow and then gets into that groove where she starts striking people out. She was right into it from the start. Valerie Caff is someone last year that kind of carried the load for this team, almost basically out of necessity, but that's given her a lot of experience to play off of. When she comes in, she can come in relief for this team in any situation. There's really nothing that Valerie hasn't seen anymore. And Danny Goranson has been dealing with injuries for a long time. But she's come in, she threw 3 games her first week back after coming back from an injury.
Pretty amazing, and done quite well.
Yeah, she is. Obviously they're not long outings because they got to kind of limit what she's doing while she's working her way back into midseason form. But when she's out there, she's mixing things up. All 4 pitchers provide just a little something different, and they complement each other really well. And for Coach Jacquie Joseph, that gives her some nice luxuries to choose from when she's looking at her pitching options.
And like we talked about, Allie, the offense and the fielding, we've seen it crumble at times, but like last night, we've seen amazing plays that these players can make. And again, I'm going to throw that word out to you again, consistency on all 3 levels, offense, pitching, and then defense.
Absolutely, and that's what makes good teams good. And you can see, just like the play last night with Puppy at second base, covering the bunt on a wild throw and then throwing to third to get the double play. Like, that's a veteran play. You don't see that from a freshman a lot of times. And that just goes to show how close we really are as a team. And I think that they are capable of so much more than they even know that they're capable of.
And the mentality of this team has never wavered, it seems like. And again, that comes back to the senior leadership. It seems like the mentality of this team, and you guys have talked to the players and the coaches more than I have, but it seems like it's never wavered. They understand what's going on. Of course, they want to win just as bad as the fans do or the people covering the team, but they are sticking together. And that again, goes back to Jacquie Joseph and what she's been able to do with this team when things aren't going right.
It's a season like this is extremely hard. It's emotional. It's physically hard. Every single day that you're getting up and going to practice, and you're working to get better and do those things, and it can be extremely frustrating when you're not finding success. So it definitely goes back to that senior leadership, and then the coaches as well, continually going out there and helping their players, giving them the tools to make them as successful as they can be, and the seniors just continuing day in and day out working as hard as they can to make their team better. Because at the same time, these seniors know that their games are down, their careers are down to innings at this point. And when you fall in love with a game like this and you know that you have days left, it's hard. It's really hard.
I want to talk to you, Allie, too, and Matt, you can chime in on this. The importance of having Zara Gutnick back. A young player, but when she got hurt, she was on an 11-game hitting streak, obviously. Very talented player. When you start, and then when you saw her last night get back on the field and back in the batter's box, how important is she moving forward for the future of this program?
She's important more for her own experience, and then as well as setting the tone. She comes in here, we talked about, inconsistency offensively, and she's on an 11-game hitting streak, so that's pretty consistent. That's pretty good in the game of softball. And we definitely missed her bat in all the Ohio State and Minnesota series for sure. I'm so excited to have her back. Even last night, she didn't get a hit, but she still looked good. Her presence is good. She swings a good bat. She has a great eye. She's just one of those. It helps the lineup when you can bat her in the 4-hole and then move other people down who are struggling so they can kind of see better pitches. So all in all, it's helping Gut. It's helping the entire team.
Sarah's just a calm presence out there. Actually, on the Rutgers trip, I sat by her on the plane, and she maybe said 10 words to me the whole time. But she's one of those that speaks softly and leads with a big stick, literally and figuratively. She's got tremendous power. She's a great third baseman for this team as well. And her presence did exactly what Allie's talking about. It allowed Jacquie Joseph to shuffle the lineup a little bit last night. With her back in there, with Sanders willing to play at first base, it allowed for a little more offensive-oriented of a lineup for the Spartans, and really there was no defensive let-up either. I mean, Sanders is still learning the position. Coach Jacquie Joseph said she didn't want to say it this way, but they dumbed down the plays a little bit to allow her to Sanders to keep playing at first base. But Gutnick over at third, she's got every tool that you need over there, and she's going to do nothing but get better the next couple of years.
Well, as they say, the future is definitely bright for this team. We pretty much went up and down the roster for the most part, and it might not be positive right away, but this whole process into the future might actually help this team grow as a unit and learn, again, how to get the wins in crucial situations.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, you look at there's 4 seniors on this team, and it really 2 of them stand out to me as the leaders on this team. Not only Sanders, but Mackenzie Frymuth. And Mackenzie right now,
who got hurt,
just a freak situation. Yeah. She's running out a strikeout of all things, and stepped funny on first base and rolled her ankle. She's doing some rehab. She's hoping to be back very soon. But those are 2 girls that just keep their chins up no matter what's happening. And it's a great example for everybody else. And Coach Jacquie Joseph relies on those 2 so much to help set the tone for the rest of the team. And, we're hopeful we can get Mackenzie back as soon as possible. I don't know about this weekend, but that, if we can have her back against Indiana, all of a sudden you're looking at an extremely potent offense. And with the confidence these girls played with last night in Ann Arbor, Indiana might be in trouble.
And, Allie, you as a former player, I mean, it's for coaches, it's much easier to have senior leadership that kind of is the coach on the field. And it kind of, and maybe younger players can relate a little bit more to the older player as against the coach. So having players, quote unquote, coach on the field kind of takes the pressure off the coaching staff as well.
It does, because they know that they can still get what they're trying to portray to their players through their seniors. And when your seniors are on board, it's going to be a lot easier for the coaches. And this senior class is on board. They're the most team players I've ever seen. I love them on the field and I love them off the field, every single one of them. I go up to them before each game and still give them a hug and say good luck, just because they're
Sure.
like, they were my babies. They were freshmen when I was a senior. So I feel like and not semi-responsible, but I feel more connected with them than I do with the rest of the
Sure.
team. So I know who they are as people, and I know how they function and how they work, and I know that they're setting a great example for the freshman class. And you have these freshmen that are getting playing time as freshmen, starting and playing every single game. That's going to be so crucial to the rest of their career, that they have this huge freshman year to build on.
And I think we got to give credit where credit is due to the other two seniors too. Ellie Stouffer's come in at catcher. She wasn't probably planning on playing every game this season.
Yeah.
Since I've come on board, she has played every single game because Lindsey Besson's been injured. And Ellie just goes out there and quietly goes about her work behind the plate. She had a hit against Michigan last night. She had 2 huge hits against Minnesota in the last game of that series.
Very workmanlike,
She
right?
is, and she does a great job working with these young pitchers, and you can't understate the importance of that. And Alyssa McBride has just been out there every game, playing in the outfield, playing good defense, and oh, by the way, she's leading the team in hitting. No big deal.
No big deal. Okay, guys, we talked about the team, and of course, we talked about Coach Joseph a little bit, but I really want to divulge into what she has meant to Michigan State University, just not as a softball coach, but as just a representative here in general, and what a great job she does representing the university, and what a great job she has with this program, runs a clean program. And it seems like to me, again, I'm new to this. You guys can maybe divulge onto this a little bit, just how much the players, the kids love to play for her. And I'm going to go to you, Allie, first, since you did play for Jacquie Joseph. And talk about the recruiting process, because you're originally from Florida now.
That's correct, yes.
And you decided to come to Michigan State. So I'd like to hear the recruiting process with Jacquie and what sold you to come here and play.
So basically, just talking with Coach Jay when I was being recruited, she wanted me to come to Michigan State and visit, and she was offering me a scholarship. So I said I'd already been here one time, and I was like, Coach Jay, I just have to get my mom on campus. I want her to see what it's like. And she knew that my mom didn't want me to go far away from home, so she knew exactly who she needed to schmooze at that point.
Sure.
And I came to campus. I fell in love with campus. I fell in love with Coach Jay because she cared more. She cares about softball, and she cares about that, but she knows that that's only 4 years of your life. It's your education and what you do while you're here that's going to influence so much more than softball will. I'm a lot of who I am because of softball and because of Coach Jay, but at the same time, it's academics and it's Michigan State as a whole that helped me become and where I am today. Like, the opportunities I've had are endless, and I would relive my 4 years in a heartbeat just because the experience is incomparable to anything else.
And she has been through the wars, to say the least. I mean, over 20 years coaching, just not here at Michigan State before. She coached a few other, I'm trying to remember the place before, but over 20 years here now at Michigan State, a staple here in the university. Matt, you have come on this year. Just your first impressions of Coach Joseph when you've had the chance to talk to her. You talked to her and see her quite a bit now.
Yes.
So just your first impressions of her overall when you took the softball gig.
Well, there's a couple things that stand out. Number one, she is a character. There is just no denying that. And I think that is what makes her players love her so much. She does not hold anything back. She does not hold any secrets. She does not hold any grudges. She is very upfront with everything, with everybody. And it's
blunt.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's a beautiful It's a beautiful thing for a broadcaster, number one, because it makes fantastic audio for us as we're trying to interview her. But she has helped me get a better understanding of her decision-making, of the rules that are in place, and what she has to work around with these rules, and just as a head coach in general. I don't think you could find anybody that knows the rule book better than Jacquie Joseph. She will admit when she gets away with something, We happened to a couple days ago. Shannon Thomas came in and pinch hit, and we did not put that in the official scores book. So she came in a couple innings later, pinch hit for somebody else. By the time the team caught it, then it was too late, and we got away with it. But it was, it was one of those things where she was communicating one thing with one player, and another coach sent out another player, but it worked for us in that situation. But if she would have got called on it, she would have been the first person to admit, hey, we did it wrong here. But on the flip side, she also knows when we've been wronged, and she will quickly point that out, and she will defend her team to the very end. And that is something that will win your players over in a hurry. When you know that your coach is out there giving everything she's got to make sure you have every opportunity to win a game, I can't imagine anything but playing harder for her.
I must say, I've talked to her now a few times. I've been to a couple of games with you guys, and I must say, she kind of reminds me of Coach Izzo in a bit of a way. I mean, again, very blunt. She's very good with the media. She's very open with the media. But as a player, Allie, I mean, her being so honest and blunt, just not with the media, but I'm sure with her players, that you got to. It's a delicate thing, isn't it, though? I mean, everybody's different. Some people can take constructive criticism one way, and other players can take it another way, but she's been able to adapt to that, and I think that's another reason why she's been so successful.
Absolutely, and coming in as a freshman, you want to be so successul, and then you're obviously most of the time not finding as much success as you want. I mean, it is a different level coming from high school to Big Ten softball. But the great thing about Coach Jay is that you always know where you stand. And she can tell you, you really messed up on this play. Here's what I would have rather you have done. And
not that nicely, though, I would imagine. Or maybe.
It depends. It depends. Sometimes she can read you, and she knows like when it's time to really get to you and when it's time that you kind of knew what you did wrong, but this is what we need to work on for next time. But she's good about knowing who her players are and who she can talk to like that, and when they kind of need to be babied a little bit and when they need to be really thrown to the wall.
Well, I got to ask you, with her success, and she's had a lot of success building this program over the years. Now, recently hasn't been as successful as everybody would like, and it's a tough deal to do because the Big Ten Conference as a whole has done leaps and bounds for softball over the past. I mean, Michigan obviously leads the way. We hate to admit it here, but it's true. I mean, they have set the standard very high for Big Ten softball. What do you think the future is for Jacquie Joseph and this Michigan State softball team?
Well, I hope that she continues to lead this team the way that she is right now, because we see the foundations. We see that the players she's bringing in now, how immediate the impact they have on this team can be. Obviously, we're going to lose 4 seniors. Mm-hmm. We've got 4 recruits coming in. I don't know a ton about them. 2 others are also signed on to walk on for next season. That's going to give her a little more flexibility. I mean, we see right now, we look at the numbers, and every team's got 3-4 more people on the bench that they can use. And then when you get injuries, we were down to 1 bat coming off the bench last week. And that is an incredibly difficult situation, and a situation that many other coaches might have just flipped out about, to be perfectly honest. I mean, that is a tough road to go down. And she handled it with class. She got these girls to get up and fight, and they were competitive. Even though they knew the numbers were wrong and the odds were against them, these girls kept coming out and doing it. And she is all about Michigan State. It's not just about Michigan State softball. She loves the other coaches that she works with. She understands the importance of academics at this school, and she is an incredible ambassador for Michigan State University, and I hope she continues to be for a long time.
Yeah, and again, just the fact that how the team is playing, even through all this adversity, I mean, it has to give Jacquie Joseph some vote of confidence throughout the university that, when it's easy when it's winning. It's easy when things are going right. Greatest coach on the planet. But when things go difficult, how does the coach and how does the staff react to the players, and how do the players react to her? And again, we discussed it earlier in this segment. I mean, they're playing their hearts out. And it's not like we're getting blown out 20-1, or I could be over-exaggerating, but all these games, as we talked about earlier, have been competitive. We've had chances, a lot of chances. Young players have stepped up, And it's just a matter of the young players mentally. I think it's more mentally for the players to get focused than it is anything else.
Absolutely. This game is an extremely mentally tough game, and it challenges you to an extent, especially coming in as a freshman, that you didn't even know you were capable of. And it's extremely important even when you're struggling, because everything's great when it's sunny and 70 and you're winning. But the true test lies when you're in a struggle or you're in a slump. How do you get out of it? What do you do? Do you continue with your same routine, or do you try something new? And I think that Coach J has been, and the whole coaching staff has been great with communicating that to her players, that never say die. Don't go silent in the night. That's exactly what the things that she
I don't
says
think
to us.
Jacquie Joseph would ever do that no matter what she was doing. Go silently into the night. Whatever it was she was doing, coaching, teaching, whatever it is.
Mowing her lawn.
No.
No.
Yes.
She's very proud of that lawn.
It's a pretty nice lawn.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it?
what I hear.
Did she already mow it already this year?
I'm sure she has.
She has? Yeah?
I'm sure.
How big of a lawn does she get? I mean,
I don't know. It's just I know it's an item of pride with her. When I
Is it?
explained that I have 4 dogs at my house. Oh, no, that would never happen over at my house. She was very clear about that.
In the wintertime, she puts like a skating rink. She built a skating rink in the backyard.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how cool is that? Those are some of the things you don't hear.
No.
But that's another reason.
That's just the type of person she is. You know, it's not just about her. It's about the neighborhood. It's about the community. That's the way she is.
She's She's extremely family oriented, and that's another thing that I loved about her.
We're going to end this special edition softball podcast with open forum. And this gives you guys a chance to speak whatever's on your mind. Doesn't necessarily have to be about softball, just whatever you're thinking about at the moment. So I'm putting you guys in the hot seat. Matt, we're going to start with you since you're the new guy.
Fair enough.
We're the new guy. What is on your mind, sir?
Well, actually, I want to go into the mind of Allie Grant a little bit.
Oh.
Because, there are opportunities during games. Obviously, there was opportunities yesterday because we had 3 rain delays that we had to work with. But, there's always a game going on. So Allie and I don't have that much time to talk. But I want Allie to tell me about her most memorable game at Michigan State, because I want to get more into the career of Allie Grant and, the credentials that she has to get her where she is today.
Most memorable game would have to be actually, there's probably a couple. My freshman year, we actually beat Michigan at home. That was pretty
big.
cool, yes. Yeah. And then my senior season would probably be my last series against Indiana. It was one of those things, like seniors, you're down to innings, you're down to pitches, and it was, I don't think I've ever played that loose, that free in my life, and I just wish I could go back and just relive those 3 games.
All right, good stuff.
All right, there you go. Allie, you are up. What is on your mind?
Well, I can go back to Matt, and Matt actually has a pretty big family. He has 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet 2 of the girls, so tell us a little bit about the 3 little ones.
I can definitely do that. Well, I got to start with my beautiful wife, Melissa, because she's an important reason why I'm here. And
smart man. Always start with the better half.
She is very patient as I am going off and doing this and sleeping over in Lansing sometimes. I am from Grand Haven, and I still live in Grand Haven. I still work a regular job in Grand Haven. So this is, I get some good windshield time in here coming out and doing these games. But we do have 3 awesome children. Hannah is almost 12. She'll turn 12 on May 17. She is more of the theatrical type, I guess would be the best way to put it. She is in her school musical this year. She did the school play. She's done drama camp before. But she's just a beautiful, bright, shining star. Gabrielle is my other daughter. You just met her as well. She is 8 years old, and she will be the future softball player. She is starting Little League for the first time this year, and she is so pumped up about it. And that's one of the main reasons that I brought him out and had him have an opportunity. Side note, Spartan Fan Zone is just awesome. That it's something that the team came up with for the home games on the weekends. There'll be one more opportunity in a couple weeks when we're playing against Maryland on Saturday and Sunday after the games. Kids can come meet the players, get their pictures taken, get autographs. There's free posters that they hand out. That's exactly what my girls did. They went down and got the posters signed. I think they got 7 or 8 autographs. It was an incredible experience, and it's helped Gabby get a little more feel for what's going on in a softball game as well. And then Caleb is 6. He has not come out to a game because he is not interested in an hour-and-a-half car ride right now, to and from.
Understandable.
But he is starting baseball this year as well, actually T-ball this year. So we're getting him started in the game as well. He's in kindergarten right now. Just 3 wonderful kids. They're all doing incredibly well in school, which I'm so proud of because I don't know how they do it. Because I never did that well in school, but they're somehow they got
tomato.
They got blessed with the best genes from both sides. They got good looks, they got good smarts. They're just 3 wonderful kids. They can thank their mom for the good looks, and we are so incredibly proud of them. It's a busy household. We have 4 rescue dogs in our house as well. So
you are a busy man.
Chaos reigns supreme over there, but you know what? It's a beautiful life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Well, we're glad to have you aboard here for sure. You've done a great job. You got thrown into the scenario, and you've done a great job. Allie, of course, coming from last year, you have done a splendid job as well. We're glad to have both of you here. And before I let you go, we got to talk about the game against Western Michigan. Now, we talked a little bit about this before we went on the air. What can we expect today? And coming back from I don't know if you like the moral victory type of feel for this team, but obviously played very well at times, had chances against Michigan last night, coming back, playing right away, less than 24 hours after that game. Do you think that will benefit this team?
That'll be interesting to see. The way the team responds today, I think, is going to dictate the way these next 2 weeks are going to go. Mm-hmm. You talked that game against Michigan. We have a rain delay before the start. We got a rain delay in the 4th inning, rain delay in the 6th inning.
You were squeegeeing.
There was a lot of squeegeeing going on out there. They had all these machines out there. It's a crazy stuff they have at the University of Michigan, where we go with the natural grass and stuff at Secchi Stadium.
That's right.
But the way these girls battled through all those delays, all the different things that went on, to be within 1 hit, even to the last pitch of that game, and out-hit Michigan in that game, by the way. It's the first time we've out-hit anybody in a while. That was the loosest, most competitive team we've seen out in the field in a couple weeks. If they have that same drive out in the field against Western today, they should take care of business, and that should really get them feeling good as they head into this series this weekend against Indiana.
What about some specifics for you? What will you be looking at in that game today?
Pitching-wise, I'd like to see less walks. I know that we held Michigan to 4 hits last night, which is amazing considering their offense and what their offense is capable of, especially with a hitter like Sierra Romero. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see just the defense just being consistent, just still 1 or less errors, and then if they do make an error, cover it up, minimize the damage. And then offensively, if they can just continue to see the ball well and hit the ball like they did against pitchers like what Michigan presents, like Matt said, they're going to have a great run the rest of their season.
Matt, Allie, I know one thing. The broadcast will be phenomenal in that game. We can't wait to listen to you at SpartanSportsNetwork.com or on the SSN 24/7 mobile app. I know you guys have had quite an early morning and then back at it this afternoon, so we appreciate your time coming into the studios today. I had a great time talking to you guys about softball. We hope to do it again. I hope to get a couple more in, so if you guys are up for it, we'll maybe get 1 or 2 more in before the end of the season.
Absolutely.
We could definitely do that.
We can definitely. We're going to try and get maybe Coach in here, see if we can get her in here and talk a little softball. I know she's very good with the media as well, as we talked about, so I'm hoping to get her in here with you guys as well. So bright things ahead here for MSU softball and on the field as well. Look forward to it. Guys, again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to the broadcast here today as well. We appreciate your time. All right, fans, thanks you for joining us for SSN, the special softball edition on base. We appreciate it. I want to thank Seth Newman behind the camera, producer extraordinaire. We appreciate his time, and we look forward to seeing you guys again. Go Green.